Liverpool finished the group stage of the Champions League in first place. Lamine Yamal impressed with her game once more. Dembele scored a hat-trick against Stuttgart, saving the team from defeat. And drama in the Manchester City Guardiola match. He tore his face again, but the team was able to recover and get 3 points. We're discussing this and more today. Friends, this is Dose of Football and the top 10 hottest news to this hour. Be sure to charge your royal like so we can continue to work without weekends. 5,000 thumbs up today, a new video tomorrow on I. According to our good tradition, the elders will not let you lie. I wish you a pleasant appetite and a pleasant viewing. Arsenal was actively looking for a new forward even before Gabriel Jesus got another injury. When the Brazilian was stretchered off and Kai Havertz started to transfer moment by moment, it became clear that without a new number 9, the Gunners would at least finish above Manchester City. Not to mention the title. Mikel Arteta publicly hinted that he needed fresh blood, but alas, the management has not brought anyone to him yet. And when there were 2 days left until the transfer window closed, the Gunners finally got their act together. Arsenal had been tracking RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko for a long time, but they won't sign him this month. Reports indicate Arsenal remains interested in Sesko, but a transfer is only feasible in the summer for 75 million. And right now, as the source claims, the Londoners are ready to buy not only a central forward, but also to consider options among effective wingers. For example, they are interested in Mateos Cunha from Wolverhampton and Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao. Cunha recently extended his contract and is critical for the Wolves' survival fight, so he won't be let go. Williams' contract includes buyout clauses totaling 60 million euros. True, Nick is, to put it mildly, not in shape right now. Just 1 goal and 3 assists in 14 La Liga games. The scheme and partners are not to blame. Having seen a bunch of Nick's matches, he either doesn't offer sharpness or he moves forward in a straight line without cunning and any idea. He's far from his Euro form and not contributing to Arsenal, but Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins is making an impact. Aston Villa can jump into the squad right away and help the Gunners in the fight for the title. Fabrizio Romano reported that Arsenal made an official offer for the forward for £60 million, but Aston Villa responded with a refusal. And all because Wolfer acted directly on the eve of the decisive match of the Champions League group stage. But today, the negotiations will surely resume, so wait for details. Lionel Messi is content at Inter Miami, enjoying great relationships with teammates, a warm connection with owner Beckham, and the Spanish-speaking city with its favorable climate. But in Paris, as the Argentine told, he didn't like the weather at all. In summary, Leo has no reason to complain. Miami was going to extend the footballer's contract, and why not? The forward changed Major League Soccer. Many were interested in the championship exclusively because of Messi. Match attendance has risen across the league. Yes, even not at Inter's matches, but it still relates to Leo's transfer. The World Championship is growing in the United States of America, and that's why Inter and all Major League Soccer clubs really want to keep Leo. Only Inter never became home for Leo. He still dreams of returning to Barcelona. Recently, David Beckham said that Messi does not plan to stay in Miami after ending his career. Leo plans to return to Barcelona, but he might do it even before he hangs up his boots. And that's why he's slow to extend his contract. Yes, it was recently written that Leo is about to sign a new agreement, that the parties have already agreed on everything, and so on. Officially, this is never announced. All due to Messi considering a return to Blaugrana. In this regard, the whole family is urging Leo to forget about old grievances and do it. The kids and Antonella really want to live in Catalonia. So, it's quite likely that we will see KB with Messi on a permanent basis, not on rental rights. To end a career at a lifelong club after Montreal is probably the best outcome. Real Madrid is waging a real war against the Spanish judiciary. The claims could indeed be justified. For example, because Spanish referees whistle too often and allow teams like Hita to turn football into a farce. The clean game time in La Liga is the worst among the top championships. But this is not what Real wants to change. Slivoch thinks that the referees are biased against them. As far as the judges are right, the penalty statistics for the last 4 La Liga seasons show that Real has the best penalty balance plus 27, Barcelona's closest pursuer has only plus 9. And yet Florentino Perez is not satisfied. Need a plus. This was reported by the president of the Royal Spanish Football Federation, Rafael Losa. Florentino feels like a victim when it comes to the judiciary. A year ago, in Sudoskarav, he took me aside and said, "We need to resolve the issue with the Negreira case." And Real lost a lot of trophies because of the referees. Lawson also said that Perez offered him to call for the help of English referees. The same is reported by the British publication. Florentino wants English referees to work at La Liga matches. Indeed, they do work perfectly. Absolutely no scandals. Just recently, they had to cancel Michael Oliver's red card in the Arsenal match, and even video assistant referee advised Oliver not to remove Miles Lewis-Skelly from the field. And there are many such episodes. Because the system is not perfect and the referees are even less so. Who would have thought people make mistakes? And if English referees start working in Spain, it's unlikely to change anything. In short, pointless whining from Perez, although how pointless. Perhaps Flo himself doesn't believe that Spanish referees are so terrible, or that there's a conspiracy against Real, and they constantly put pressure on the referees just so they systematically make mistakes in favor of, or at least dictate episodes 50-50 in favor of Real. Like ambiguous heads in the penalty area. Neymar moved from Al Hilal to Santos to gain form and a quick return to Europe. The information of Florian Plettenberg was confirmed by no less authoritative Neymar. He is going to restore the technical and physical skills that suffered due to the rupture of the cruciate ligament of the knee. In Santos, Neymar will receive only 163,000 euros a month, a mere pittance. In Saudi Arabia, he earned around 8 million euros for the same period. That is, the Brazilian took a pay cut of more than 40 times. And now he will receive per month approximately as much as his entire inventory in Counter-Strike is worth. And even if Ney doesn't stay in Santos, he intends to bring a couple of comrades there, who, as we learned, are so important to him that they once served as a reason for his transfer from Barcelona to Paris Saint-Germain. According to UOL, Neymar insists that Santos should make a couple more star signings. He asked the management for Paul Pogba, Sergio Ramos, and Thiago Silva. Ramos is fully fit. He recently showed how he works out in the gym and keeps himself in shape. The Spaniard is not thinking about ending his career, and he will definitely be able to handle the level of the Brazilian league. Thiago Silva, 2 years Ramos' senior, continues to perform well at Fluminense. Right after his transfer, the team was transformed and had a winning streak with no losses. Apparently, Neymar has noticed Silva's achievements too. Pogba's disqualification is about to end, he can already take the field in March. But of course, it's better to sign a contract in advance to adapt to the team. Several clubs are after him, including the VPL, and, according to rumors, Pogba planned to return to the top level. So I'm not sure he will accept an offer from Santos, who is not very rich. If earnings are Paul's priority, then he might as well go to Saudi Arabia. Manchester United legend Louis Seha maintains that the Red Devils require Paul. I wish Samu would write another chapter. He can quickly become one of the best in the squad. When in form, there are only a few players in the world who can do what he does. If Paul Pogba is available, I would be delighted to see him back at United now. Manchester could really use a midfielder who can dictate the flow of the game and distribute passes across the entire field. Kobe Main and Manuel Garta are masters, of course, but masters of a different plan. Steven Gerrard left for Saudi Arabia after the failure at Aston Villa. The legendary player and fairly average coach said he really liked the ambitious project of Al Ittifaq. Moreover, the team belongs to a Liverpool fan, and they promised Gerrard that they would bring over a couple of former Reds players, for example, Gini Wijnaldum. Jordan Henderson also wanted to work under the guidance of his role model for the youth, but not for long. Apparently, the ambitions that Stevie G talked about did not impress, and Litifak achieved nothing even at the local level, not to mention international tournaments. And all this with a fairly strong lineup. In addition to Wijnaldum, Moussa Dembele and Domarai Gray were in Gerrard's disposal, as well as a young talent from Roma, Zao Costa. Last season, Al Ittifaq finished in 6th place. This season, they are in 12th. The team's fans don't pack the stadium, yet they only criticize the coach. Stevie particularly annoyed them with his comments about deliberately scheduling late training sessions so as not to miss Liverpool matches. Rumors suggested Gerrard was close to being fired, and he actually left the club yesterday. However, as Ben Jacobs clarified, it was not about the connection with the fans or the team's standing in the tournament. Gerrard himself asked the management to release him from his obligations for personal reasons. Meanwhile, Gerrard may keep working with the Saudi Arabian League. He's willing to take a role that lets him contribute to growing local football. Possibly, Stevie was disappointed in his coaching career, which somehow did not work out for him after the colossal but local success in Rangers. But I wouldn't bet on this career. He might go back to England. Finding a job won't be so easy though. And here's another news from Saudi Arabia. Speaking of which, Aston Villa is selling John Duran to Al Nassr for 75 million euros. Duran has already undergone a medical, despite being on the Mashville bench just yesterday. It appears that Bonifaca will remain in Bahia. They've already agreed with Victor, but it seems they've frozen the deal at the last stages because they wanted Duran more. Going to Saudi Arabia in the 21st year is a highly questionable choice. I'm already waiting for the tearful stories about how John convinced Al Nassr's ambitions and Ronaldo's greatness. Ben Chilwell, Champions League winner, found himself in an enviable situation despite only playing 45 minutes in the League Cup all season. Chilwell was kicked out of the club in the summer, but he either couldn't find a new team or, likely, got upset. But the chances of persuading Enzo Moresco to his side, as we see, were few. Now the footballer is languishing on the bench, and such a player is supposed to play. Even not in the best conditions. After a series of injuries and clearly in a subdued state, Ben would still be useful to almost any National Football League midfielder. But Chil's absence from play since summer concerns some clubs. According to data, the defender has exhausted all his transfer possibilities in this window. He rejects options from Saudi Arabia or Turkey, and therefore Ben will sit in reserve until next summer, and only then will he change clubs. Chilwell is worth 20 million euros, if you believe Transfermarkt, so the player is definitely worth it. Chelsea is willing to sell him for a low price, yet there are no takers. It's even strange, and yet Chelsea is pushing the fullback in every possible way. Of course, I'm exaggerating. It hasn't come to Juan Laporta's methods yet. Just look at the situation with Frankie de Jong's salary leaks, and now Laporta has taken on Ansu Fati. According to Diario Sport, the Catalans have been hinting in every possible way to Fati's agent, Jorge Mendes, that he should find a new club for his client. The Blaugrana want Mendes to convince Fati to leave Barcelona, but Fati is not yet inclined. As Spanish media report, he doesn't even listen to those close to him advising him to give up his dream of becoming a Barcelona legend. Due to injuries, Fati's career hasn't met Barcelona's expectations, and the club is urgently seeking to part ways with Ansu. The Blaugrana are still hoping to sign a star forward in this transfer window. If things don't work out with Marcus Rashford, they will try to lease Jeremy Doku from Manchester City. However, why the Belgian needs to leave City, none of the insiders have explained. Unlike Rashford, Doku often gets on the field, or at least makes the squad. But what will you do with this Lamine Yamal? The guy who just finished school is simply destroying his peers on the field. This time, Atalanta suffered from the skills of the Barcelona trainee. It was his actions that prevented Bergamasques from directly advancing to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Atalanta came out charged to get 3 points. They simply needed it. Without a victory, Gasperini's team risked greatly complicating their life. And it did. A lot happened in the first half of the game, especially regarding the pressing of Barcelona's players. Sometimes the Catalans didn't even know how to pass the ball to their defenders. Atalanta pressed them so well. Lamine Yamal was the only one they had problems with. Gasperini had no effective counter against him. None of the Atalanta players understood how to stop the young winger from Barca. No matter what you did, he was always one step ahead. And it was Yamal who first disappointed the visiting Italians. Rafinha passed the ball to Lamino at the edge of the penalty area, and he, easily getting past the defensive talent, drove the ball past the goal line. This could have been the beginning of the end for Bergamasco, and a beautiful point for Barcelona at this stage of the Champions League. After all, it was aiming for the first place, as Liverpool unexpectedly lost in its own match. But can the Catalans finish the match without doing something to cheer up the fans in the away stand? The Polish goalkeeper or defense will always find a way to delight the opponent. In general, the shootout at Città Jamale ended with 4 goals scored and a draw on the scoreboard. The point gained did not allow Barcelona to rise to the first place, and Atalanta also could not be pleased with such a result. Due to the draw, Gasperini's team fell below the position they were aiming for. And in the end, no one was satisfied, except perhaps the neutral fans. Stuttgart and Passage's match ended without an agreed draw. The Parisians opened the score already on the 6th minute. Bradley Barkley shone, and Luis Enrique showed why he requires numerous wingers in this game. The Passengers scored 4 goals, and all on the account of the extreme attacking hat-trick, Kousmana, Dembele goal, plus a pass from Bradley Barkley, and Desi Radieu had a stunning assist, passed the ball through himself after a corner straight to Barkley's head. Be sure to appreciate this moment if you missed it. The match review is just in our Telegraph. And not only it, there are all the Champions League matches there. I'll leave the link in the description and in the pinned comment. And I immediately answer the hanging question. We didn't see Kvaratskhelia in the match. For some reason, Stuttgart went ahead to press. And the fast winger's princes just love such behavior of the opponent. Just one successful diagonal, nothing more. Paris Saint-Germain has such an attack that it doesn't take much to bring it to its senses. Not at all. Dembele, who had issues with Luis and Drake throughout the season, pulled the princes into the playoffs. Yesterday, Sman was in top form. His shots were accurate, his passes connected, and his quick dribbling left opponents struggling to keep up. The main hero of the evening is none other. Meanwhile, in the match between Bavaria and Slovan, everything seemed to be predetermined before the starting whistle. The only question was how many goals Munich would score and whether the number would reach double digits. The Reds were determined to score at least 8 to secure the best chances of advancing to the top 8. And the lineup was appropriate. Kane, Muller, Police, Sane, Tell, and Kimmey defend on the right. Very aggressively, yes, only they have already skated that vat. Modestly and occasionally, and compared to expectations in terms of goals. Just a 3-1 victory, and now you have to fight in the 16th. Milan managed to modestly defeat Dinamo Zagreb with a score of 1-2 yesterday. Rossoneri, Presegio, Conceição brought back that fighting spirit that Pioli's team had. But no game ever came about. Even the concept is not visible. Fontecchi had it, just didn't have the time and the right options to implement it. And now Milan is relying solely on individual players' bursts of brilliance. Yes, Real Madrid plays in much the same way, but even the Madrid team has more tactical content, plus a higher class of footballers. So the long-term prospects of Conceição look doubtful, for now. Inter comfortably made it to the first 8 of the Champions League. Yes, Inter didn't win the group stage, but how did Simon Inzaghi calculate everything? Inter conserved energy by not pushing too hard. And that's correct. The Nerazzurri has an age squad, but the Serie A is more important than the Champions League. Inzaghi actively used rotation, even allowed himself to release half of the second squad against Bayer. In that match, the reserves conceded their sole Champions League goal. Great performance over 8 rounds. Yesterday, Inter defeated a likable Monaco 3-0 for the season. Lautaro Martinez messed up. The Argentine had a lot of trouble during the draw, but he finally got into shape and started pulling the team. Liverpool finished at the top of the Champions League group, but still didn't have a perfect run. Yesterday, they lost to PSV with a score of 2-3. But no complaints about Slot or the team. The third squad came out, the Reds saved their strength for the Premier League, young James McConnell really impressed, and so did Slot. The coach reconsidered sending him on loan after the match. But the main performance was put on by Amara Nallo. The defender jumped onto the field in the 80th minute, and already on the 87th he received a red card. A stunning debut on par with Leo Messi's for Argentina. I'm eager to see Nallo achieve similar successes with the team, just as Messi has with Albiceleste. PSV was good yesterday. Another Dutch team, Feyenoord, who had previously surprised Mönchengladbach and Bayern, thrashed Lille with a score of 1-6. Moreover, in Rotterdam, they scored 3 times into their own net. Karl scored 3 own goals. Real had previously struggled against Lille, but yesterday they easily defeated another French team. Brest let 3 unanswered balls through. Great game from Rodrigo, but what about Mbappe? Kylian seemed to have regained his best form and established a rapport with his partners. Another disappointing match from the Frenchman, but not a super bombardment. Obviously, he didn't want to score. Gubil missed 100% moments. Could have made a hat-trick if it wasn't for the execution. And somehow he didn't return to the old Madrid regime. Not the kind of game you expect from a favorite, a golden ball, not quite the Manchester City still plays, in the Champions League playoffs. Although it was noticeably smoky at the Etihad. An hour before kickoff, a kiosk selling club merchandise caught fire right in front of the stadium, adding to the chaos alongside Pep's absence. The presentations by Kusanov, Rice and Mamash were cancelled. The Etihad nearly caught fire, but disaster was averted. However, the kiosk burned down completely. City fans saw it as a tragic omen and expected the team's Champions League elimination. And the start of the match with Brugge indeed was tough. A heap of moments from the first half and a missed goal in the dressing room, and a break, after which Pep Guardiola once again scratched his head. And there would have been no comeback if not for the magic of Kočiča, a completely non-tactical goal from the Croat. I have praised Matteo dribbling not once, his main quality, and it paid off. He went from the center of the field and tucked a wonder into the bottom corner. A true masterpiece. As always, catch it on our channel. And then there were more positional goals from Guardiola and Savia. Pep was so happy he was jumping around like a kid, almost ripping his clothes off. I'm unsure if making the playoffs is better for the coach than being eliminated. There's so much stress ahead, and from the outside it seems like he really needs to seek help. Or to relieve some of the pressure that's focused on the championship. Or better yet, take a vacation. Seriously, I'm already worried not only about Guardiola's mental, but also physical health. Let's sum up the results of the group stage of the new Champions League format. First of all, I want to note the simply insane last round of 18 matches at once. There were so many goals that the flash score just crashed, and the multicast couldn't keep up with showing all the balls. You watch as Watkins didn't score, and the score has been 2-2 for a minute already. Football has turned into a goal cutting. Calling a multi-case of 18 football matches a viewing can only be done with a very big stretch. Yes, you won't get bored, but the magic that turns the game into a TikTok disappears. A brief content also greatly differs from a full reading of a book, or a thoughtful viewing of the best moments of a movie. Or if you want, like a sauce without the main dish. But thanks to the new format, we have several unexpected teams right away. Lille reached the top 8 in the playoffs. In the stakes, a very likable Brest will play with minimal resources, not the richest Celtic and the straightforward Bruges. Unfortunately, such results have their shortcomings. Already in the round of 16, we will see the departure of Bavaria, Manchester City, or Real Madrid. They are organizing 2 pairs together with Celtic. The passenger may meet with Liverpool or Barcelona in the first quarter-final. In short, the real epic. We're waiting for Friday and sacrifices. Thanks for watching and subscribing. See you next time. My name is Kirill Kasta. This was your daily dose of football. Peace to your home and to Johanghe, friends.